Hold on tight. The champ is here. Mikey is raising the roof. He is loving it.
Let's be real for a second.
Let's be real. I'm
be
excited
real.
to be real today. Mikey, we're now explain yourself.
I don't hate Russell Wilson.
Todd hates T.Y. Hilton. I know why he likes Nick Foles. Do you know why? Because he scored 55 points against them in the championship game last year.
Running backs in Andy Reid's systems, just fantasy
Yeah.
gold mine. Sign me up there, man.
Yeah, and he's passing for 1,000 too, because his offensive weapons are shit.
Maybe.
even
Oh,
against
my
it.
God. I can't even believe this, Eric. Todd comes out with some outlandish
Oh,
shit.
come on.
But that one wins the night.
You deserve the torture of watching those games if you get them.
There's a problem with all those names. None of those guys are good.
Exactly. That's my point. That is 100% my point.
Hey. All I'm saying. Hey, I'm a very unique individual. You know, that's the. And,
I'm sure all the owners think so.
Oh, man. Just when I think that they're out, they pull me back in.
Welcome to the MHA podcast. We're recording on a Sunday night here at the halftime of the Cowboys-Saints game. And so we're going to try to do this podcast, try to bring you some notes, especially about stuff that happened today. Todd and I worked a little bit today. Mikey can fill us in on some stuff we might have missed. But we're going to kind of get you up to date on what's going on in the world of the MHA. I have a question for you guys. What is the similarities? What do the Dragons, my team, and the Broncos have in common?
both 0-4.
0-4.
I was going to say both suck, but
Yeah.
technically you're not 0-4 yet.
Not yet. We're still waiting on the second half. Aaron's got Michael Thomas. He's probably got like a 12-point lead. It's going to be tough. It's been that type of year. How fun. How are you guys doing? You guys are undefeated, right? So you guys must be having a great season.
For sure. I mean, definitely.
The brain power at this table.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
So Todd and Mike are actually playing each other. How close is it right now?
It's 15 to 56.
Okay, and so you're working with Zeke, and then you have Andy Dalton, who you hope explode for 50 points tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
And you're done, right?
Yes.
So we'll keep an eye on Zeke as we go into this second half. And,
Yeah, there he
fantasy
goes,
football.
racing 80 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, Todd's back is to the screen, so you can't see what's going on. So what are we going to talk about on this show? We're going to kind of give you some of our biggest surprises. Of course, some big busts so far. And if you just look at my team, there's the whole bust list. And we'll also kind of talk about guys that we believe in or that we don't believe from what we've seen in the first 4 weeks of the season. And we'll play some games. You guys want to play some games today for some MHA trivia?
Yeah.
Is it like pin the tail on the donkey type games?
More like a piñata, because I'm going to beat both of you with a baseball bat because my season's terrible and I am angry.
All right.
But that's okay. All right. So that leads me to my next question. Give me one guy that you were absolutely wrong about so far. Now, we're talking about the preseason rankings. It could be a guy, I guess, that you drafted. But is there a guy that you talked about in the preseason that you were way off on? Todd?
I would say DeAndre Hopkins. I said he was going to break Calvin Johnson's record, and so far he's down in the rankings. I mean, down in the projections, not projections, but so far this season. He just hasn't been the DeAndre Hopkins that we all have come accustomed to.
Yeah, Hopkins had that really good week one, but has struggled since then. What about you, Mikey?
I mean, come on. Derrick Henry.
Yes, Derrick Henry. I told you about Derrick Henry.
So he was seventh best running back going into the week. This week had another 100 yards today. So, well, he's not doing as well as the other guy I said he wouldn't do as well as. He's still doing pretty well.
Still hanging in there. Titans offense. A.J. Brown getting a couple of touchdowns for the Titans today. And for me, a guy I was way off on. Anybody want to guess who I was my worst
Hold
call
on.
so far?
Let me look at your draft.
It's actually a guy I did not draft. But you can look through my team and pretty much pinpoint any of those guys. But there was one guy that I was pretty bitter on. He's been pretty good so far. Any quick guesses?
You're bitter on a lot of guys.
I was. And I've been wrong on all of them.
Wow.
3, 2, 1. Mark Ingram. Remember how much I hated Mark Ingram?
Yeah.
And he's fourth in our scoring system coming into this weekend. He's had a game of 22 points and a game of 33 points.
Ooh.
That whole Baltimore offense, I was way off on. I didn't think that would score that many. I thought their defense would kind of keep them in games. It'd be 13-10. Lamar Jackson has come in. Another guy I was wrong about, Lamar Jackson, for sure. I think we may have all been, except for Dylan. Dylan drafted him as his first quarterback. Yeah. So must be doing something right. But, yeah, there's a lot of guys I was wrong on, but we'll talk about as we go along. How about a guy that you were absolutely right on, Mikey?
Well, I was going to talk about Mark Ingram being the guy that I was right on.
Yep.
The guy you hated.
Yep.
So that's where we kind of switch. You were higher on Derrick Henry. I was higher on Mark Ingram. And I knew Baltimore would be running the ball a lot. I knew that in that type of offense where they have to worry about Lamar Jackson running the ball as well, that it would open things up for him. And it
But none of us could have predicted what that offense is doing as a whole. I mean, Lamar Jackson is a top 3 quarterback in our scoring league. Yeah. And a guy who couldn't connect with anybody is now connecting all over the place, including Mark Ingram. I mean, none of us could have predicted that, right?
Yeah, he was connecting a lot with the Cleveland Browns this morning, I tell you.
Todd, someone that you're absolutely right on so far.
I would say,
and this is annoying because Todd's, in all realness, Todd's been right about a lot of things this year. Yeah. It's annoying as shit. But give me one guy that you're super proud that you knew how he was going to play out this year.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes again. I mean,
come on. Come on, dude.
Didn't we all say that Patrick Mahomes would be the number 1 quarterback?
Yeah, but this crazy stats that I said he would put up. He's on pace to do some of that.
He didn't even score a touchdown today.
Doesn't matter. He's on pace to throw for 6,000 yards, Mikey. Nobody's done that. Not Peyton Manning, not Drew Brees, not even John Elway. Okay, Patrick Mahomes is gonna throw for 6,000 yards.
Way to reach, man.
Hey, you know me, Mikey.
We'll talk more about some other guys that he was right about for sure. I'll throw this in here. Do you guys want to talk about your teams real quick? I mean, I don't know how much the other owners want to hear about it. I mean, I'll tell you how terrible my team is. For Adams, Devontae Adams, who was terrible for the first 3 weeks. James Conner's yet to have a good week. Zach Ertz, been less than stellar. Chris Carson, up and down. A.J. Green's still not healthy. Tariq Cohen's been bad. I could go down the list, but no one wants to hear that. So my season's quickly going down the toilet, minus a miracle from Tyler Boyd. How you feeling about your team right now? 3-0, playing tied, close game. Low scoring. You said it was low scoring today, so I'm sure that's not something you want to see from your team.
Yeah, low scoring slugfest. I feel okay about my team, especially now with Melvin Gordon coming out of his holdout.
Yeah.
It's going to, Damian Williams gets healthy, Devin Singletary gets healthy. I got a lot of depth going on.
What about you, Todd? You like your team?
So far, I do.
Of course you do.
Of course
you do. Even with Tyreek Hill out for a while.
Yeah, LaShawn McCoy. Talk about a.
Yeah, how much did we see? That should have been your absolute right. Yeah. Like me and Mikey shit on your LaShawn McCoy pick, and
wait a second on that, because it's not like Todd knew when he drafted him that he was going to end up in Kansas City.
That's a good point.
Yes, that's true. But I mean, sometimes the chips just fall, and if you have that 4-leaf clover up your butt, as Mikey's used to having, works out in your favor.
And I have to give credit to Mikey. Mikey talks about running backs and Andy Reid. It's like that's a marriage made in heaven. So. And the fact that, and obviously, dude, it does help that Damon Williams has been hurt. So Sean McCoy has just been, racking him up. So 14 points today for him. So, yeah. Probably the only one player.
I said one.
Sorry.
I said one.
Sorry.
Well, I guess we were talking about your team, but go ahead. I'll let you finish.
I was just saying the one player.
I know what you're gonna say.
The one player that needs to start stepping it up a little bit, and hopefully he keep him is Josh Gordon. I drafted him in the 5th round. I mean, he's gotten 5, he's gotten 10, 5, 4, which
Mikey's
again,
blowing smoke like he's smoking a doobie.
And
joint.
And hopefully he's got a good matchup next
Cigarillo.
week against Washington. So somebody I was reading something today. He said he might go nuclear next week. So
you know who your best player has been? Maybe New England's defense or Tom Brady. Although Brady wasn't great today, but he's been surprising. Okay. A guy that I was absolutely right about, I was going to say Derrick Henry was a guy, but we talked about him. I was really nervous about Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Like, there was a guy that people were projecting to go at the end of the 1st, maybe in the middle of the 2nd, and I thought, like, even if he came to me, I'd be really nervous, and I felt Cook and Chubb were better, and he ended up falling down to Belt Sanders late in the 2nd, and he's been pretty bad. 43rd among running backs in points. They've been throwing because they've been behind, and so Mikey's hoping for that on Monday night. Okay, you guys ready for a little bit of MHA trivia? Play a little game here.
All right, Brain. You don't like me, and I don't like you. But let's just do this, and I can get back to killing you with beer. It's a deal.
Yeah.
So this is, I always like to do this because it's fun we're almost a little over 4 games into the season, and we'll start with quarterbacks. Can you name the top 5 quarterbacks in our scoring position? And we'll let Todd go first.
Patrick Mahomes.
That is correct. Mikey, Patrick Mahomes has 229 points, including today, if I did my math correctly, but he's around there because my math is never great. So who in the top 5?
Lamar Jackson.
Very good. Second, can you believe that? I mean, you've seen some Lamar Jackson, Mikey. What's he doing right? What's working for him?
They just have a lot of big plays. People can't stop him from running. He's been able to hit a lot of big plays down the field. Can't say I saw it.
None of us saw it. And I mean, we're in a point per completion league, and I figured he would get some rushing touchdowns and maybe you'd get a big play down the field every once in a while. But I mean, that dude, he's got 10 passing touchdowns, and has had 17 completions, but he had 5 touchdowns in that game. 24 completions, 2 touchdowns. He had 22 completions and 24 completions and 3 touchdowns, although he had a couple picks. So incredible. All right, Todd, give me another quarterback in the top 5. We've gotten the top 2 so far.
Carson Wentz.
That is incorrect. Coming into this week, he was near the top, but he didn't have a tremendous week. So, Mikey.
Well,
Another
coming
quarterback.
into the week, I would have said Dak Prescott.
Correct, and he's currently playing, so that's hard to say. He was definitely up there, but he was actually 3rd coming into this week. So depending on how everything kind of plays out for him, but I do not have him down. He's got 17 points right now. So if you count 17 on top of the 170, he would be up there, but he might be 5th. But he's not on my list, so keep going. No, you said Dak. You were wrong. Todd?
Hey, that's not fair. He's still playing.
Fine. Give me another one.
All right. I will give Matt Ryan.
That is correct. He's actually 3rd. Interesting with Matt Ryan, and maybe it's just the last couple of weeks, but not a lot of touchdowns. Well, I guess Matt Ryan had 0 touchdowns today. He had 300. He's hit 300 yards in all 4 of his games, throwing the ball a ton. He's got 8 touchdowns. He did not have one today, but he's been averaging about 53 points per game. So Matt Ryan doing it once again. I know a lot of people were concerned about Matt Ryan. Usually has a good year and a bad year. His team hasn't been great, but he's been throwing the ball a lot. All right, Todd, can you get number 4 and number 5?
Kirk Cousins.
Oh, boo. He's been one of the worst quarterbacks.
He's been awful.
Terrible.
Absolutely bad.
That yeah.
I know one of the dudes is a guy that I know me and Eric for sure were probably down on. Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that is correct. He is number 4. He's got 208 points. And, man, I mean, I've always said he's a player. He's like an Aaron Rodgers where he just makes things happen. Just 33 points in the first week, but he had 59 in week 2, 77 points in week 3, 32 completions, 406 yards and 2 touchdowns, just 37 points today. But he's a baller. Doesn't matter who's on his team or who's not on his team. He is a baller. So, Todd, a chance to save face a little bit. Mikey's got 3 of the quarterbacks, so maybe we'll add them all up at the end, and we'll see where we're at. Right now, Mikey's winning the QB. Can you name the 5th one?
Aaron Rodgers.
Incorrect. He's actually been doing pretty bad, and that's another one I've gotten wrong. I thought Aaron Rodgers would have an MVP season.
Yeah.
Hasn't had that so far.
No, because I think they
He had 62 on Thursday.
Yeah.
So that's something. All right, Mikey, you can get 4 out of 5 if you can get this last one. And then this will be the last guess because we got to keep going.
All right. This one's just a dart throw.
Sure.
I'm going to say Jacoby Brissett.
That's a good guess, but it ended up being Jared Goff because he had a pretty good day today.
Yeah, jeez.
So Mahomes, who was drafted as the first quarterback. You got Lamar Jackson, who was drafted in the 9th round. In our draft, Matt Ryan, who Aaron drafted in the 5th. Russell Wilson, who probably went pretty late. I don't know if I can catch him. Oh, actually, he went in the 10th round as Belt Sanders' second quarterback, as Baker Mayfield's been a bust. We'll talk about him. And Jared Goff, just because he had a big day today. He ended up going to notorious CUP, who actually has Dak Prescott on his team as well. He's probably been starting him more times than not. All right, you guys ready for some running backs?
Yeah.
All right, I'll let Mikey go first this time because I let Todd go first last time. So the
All
top
right.
5 running backs.
Top 5.
Hopefully I did the math
Well,
correctly.
Dalvin Cook has got to be up there.
Dalvin Cook is a correct answer. He's actually 3rd with 89 points, but not the top running back. Todd?
Christian McCaffrey.
Very good. Number 1, he's got 99 points so far. McCaffrey continues to just kill it. I mean, even with Kyle Allen, the backup quarterback, who's going to be the quarterback for a little while, Christian McCaffrey definitely deserves to go number 1. All right, back to you, Mikey.
Austin Eckler.
Very good. Second. That's a guy we'll talk about. We'll talk more about later. I won't get into him now, but boy, he's had quite the season so far. That could change with Melvin Gordon on the horizon. Todd, back to you.
Alvin Kamara.
That is incorrect. I mean, but he is playing right now, so you got to think about that when you're answering your questions. I mean, he came in as the 4, 5, 6 guy, but Aaron Jones got in some time, and so take that for what it is. I'll give you another shot here.
Jordan Howard.
Not incorrect. He's really only had 2 okay games. He had a couple weeks ago where he had 8 points, but a lot of that came off a touchdown, and obviously the Thursday night where he had 30 still did not put him in the top 5. Mikey, we've seen McCaffrey, Eckler, and Cook.
Say Mark Ingram.
Very good. He's actually tied for 5th, and I'll give you a bonus point if you can name me the guy that he's tied with. If not, I'll give Todd that chance. 72 points for Mark Ingram, which includes today. Stupid Mark Ingram.
Hey, why you gotta shit on Mark Ingram?
Well,
That's
just
not
because
very
I'm
nice.
wrong, that's all. I just don't like being wrong, and I've been wrong a lot, so I'm just shitting on him.
Oh, okay.
So who do you think also had 72 points?
Oh boy. Man, I
See,
don't
what you guys need
even
to do is
know.
pull up your list of teams. Oh, I have something over here, don't I? Ugh, pulling out this little team so you can look at the teams and figure out maybe that'll probably help you kind of narrow it down. But I'm going to give you 3, 2,
David
1.
Johnson.
Sorry, that's incorrect, Todd.
I knew it would be.
You can either give me the number 4 guy or the number 5 guy that's tied with Ingram.
Nick Chubb.
Very good. Nick Chubb, which includes today's incredible outburst, 3 touchdowns.
Jeez.
Nick Chubb. Oh, man, 37 points. He's averaged double figures in every game so far. So he has 165 yards rushing in today's game as well. Now, Todd, I'll give you a chance to tie.
Okay.
Or try to get the one that's tied with Ingram because I gave Mikey a chance. If you don't get it, then I'm just going to mention it and we'll keep going on.
Okay.
So give me another running back who's in the top 6, I guess.
I'll say Zeke Elliott.
Speaking of Zeke Elliott, I think he just fell into the end zone for a touchdown.
Please let it be the other guy.
No, it looks like it is Zeke.
Boo.
So Mikey creeping up on Todd here. But Zeke was not the answer, although he's playing right now. So he would be close in that conversation. I mean, he's actually kind of down there a little bit for Zeke, he's averaged double figures in every game. He's got 13 tonight. So he'd be up there, but I don't think he'd be amongst the leaders. The other guy was Derrick Henry, who's tied for 5th with 72 points. No one gets the Derrick Henry
I didn't
point.
want to say it.
You should have just said it so you get the point. Okay, let's go move on to wide receivers. So we're kind of just going through this exercise to kind of tell you who's up the top. You know, we always talked about the top running backs that were drafted. You talk about McCaffrey, who's up there. Barkley, obviously Saquon Barkley's hurt. Kamara's close up there. Zeke's up there. Le'Veon Bell's had a good game and some bad games. Todd Gurley went in the first round. He's had a couple. He gets touchdown runs. That's about it. David Johnson's been okay. Connor been terrible. Chubb, Cook, incredible. Mixon, not so much. Fournette had a good day today. So, all right, let's go into wide receivers. We'll start with Todd this time. Can you tell me who the number 1 wide receiver in our league is?
Keenan Allen.
Very good, Todd Diamond. Todd Diamond is in tune with his fantasy football here this year. Maybe not fantasy baseball, but fantasy football.
That's still a work in progress.
73 points. Keenan Allen has had quite the year so far. Are we surprised?
Well, the only thing with
I'm
Keenan Allen.
fucking surprised. He didn't do shit for me last year.
Well,
but
I
that's
think,
me. That's me being bitter.
But I think with Keenan Allen, it was always the talent was the issue. Was him getting hurt because there'd be so many times he
played all last year. He just didn't score touchdowns.
Yeah, well.
And he's got 3 so far, which doesn't sound like a lot, but he's got 8 receptions, 13 receptions, and 5 receptions. His targets are through the roof.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a big part of that is Melvin Gordon not being there. And so, and I think with kind of the opponents they've had, I think that's also favored him. Although he didn't play that well against Miami today, just 5 for 48. All right, Mikey, can you name a wide receiver in the top 5?
I'll say Cooper Cup.
That is correct. That's actually number 2, and that is with his. He had an incredible this little fucker got a last-second touchdown with Aaron's team today. God, man, Cooper Cup, who is kind of picking up where he left off. Now he was hurt kind of midway early in the season, but he had like 7 touchdowns in the first 5 weeks or something of the season. It was unreal, and then got hurt, and now he's coming back and doing it all over again. All right, Todd, up to you now.
Michael Thomas.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Now, of course, we just went through this before. He's playing right now. So anybody that's not playing, but even if we kind of went out from today, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th. He's 11th. Obviously, with Drew Brees out of there, he's not putting up his normal totals. He was just 6 for 65 last week. Actually, no, he's got 6 for 65 this week, and he was 5 for 54, but a touchdown saved his day. I'm going to give you another chance. Give me someone else.
Sammy Watkins.
That is correct. He's actually 5th with 56 points. Sammy Watkins, up or down? Depends on what week. When he's up, he's up. When he's down, he's pretty much invisible. All right, Mikey, your turn.
Oh, I'll say Chris Godwin.
That is correct, and that's because he had a big day today. 32 points today for Chris Godwin in that. How many points did those two teams score?
So 55
to 50?
No, to 40.
55 to 40, is that what it was? So that's a ton of points.
Yeah.
And so Godwin, 32 of his 68 points came in today. So good job, Mikey. Okay, we need one more. Todd, you got to catch up here a little bit.
T.Y.
I'm sorry, T.Y. is actually 7th with 53 points. Mikey?
See, my gut would tell me Amari Cooper, but since he's playing right now, I'm not
Thank
going to do that.
He's definitely up there. But he's playing today, and he's only got 4 points today, so he's not in the conversation.
Yeah, so I'll say Mike Evans.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect. Mike Evans, who had that astonishing 3-touchdown game last week, 35 points, but in the 2 weeks previous, 10 total points. He did have 14 points today, so he's not out of the realm, but he's not up. There's one guy we're obviously missing.
Julio.
That is correct. Good job, Todd. 62 points. He's had a couple of behemoth games as well. All right, and we'll go through the tight ends, and then we'll finish this game up and start with Mikey this time. Tight ends are the worst.
They are, I'll say, we'll go with the Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews is actually 3rd, but not that far off. Good job, Todd.
Travis Kelce.
Oh, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I guess I'll have to give it to you. He's tied for 5th. But Travis Kelce maybe not having the season that we anticipated, but I'll give Todd the point. Mikey, to you.
Darren Waller.
Darren Waller is correct. He's actually the one that's tied with Travis Kelce. And Darren Waller drafted as a backup tight end, I believe, by NWA, because obviously he's an Oakland fan. He actually has 3. I don't know if he still has 3 tight ends, but he drafted 3 tight ends on his team. Waller has been good surprise for fantasy owners this season. All right. Todd, to you.
Evan Ingram.
That is correct. He actually is tied for first with 53 points. Kind of was holding up the end while Golden Tate and Shepard were not playing, but still out there doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Mikey?
Say Austin Hooper.
Very good. He's actually also tied for first. So a couple guys that were not drafted as the top guys are doing pretty well for fantasy owners. And there's one more guy, and then we'll kind of move on, and I'll tally everything up. So we're missing one. He's actually 4th.
Ertz.
Wrong. Zach Ertz is disappointing me in a huge way with 38 points, and he's 7th. Mikey? It's a guy we talked about. Maybe off air we talked about this guy.
Well, I only remember talking about Will Dissly.
Very good. He is 4th with 50 points. He has put up double digits in every game this season. So as I tally the marks here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I might have to do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Doesn't matter. 8. Mikey, you win the game. Congratulations.
All right.
But
Another Zeke touchdown, then I'm really going to be winning the game.
And he's really going to be putting
Shut
it
up,
up.
Mikey.
So
No,
that just goes to show, keep an eye on how these players are doing. They're not the guys you think. You know, we do so much, and that's what boggles me is, or I mean, it shouldn't be boggled. This is the NFL. You can't predict anything. For as much as I read, listen to podcasts, do research, it never ends up the way you think it's going to end up.
No.
Talk about some injuries real quick. Obviously, we know the ones about Big Ben. Tyreek Hill might be coming back soon. Saquon Barkley, that's got to be tough for the Belt Sanders, who probably going to go 0-4 also this week, so him and I will just hang out at the bottom. Andrew Luck retiring. That put a hamper on Mikey a little bit, but Mikey has things under control. Lamar Miller, obviously, out for the season. So those are some of the big names that kind of shook things up in the early stages of the season. Is there anything else I'm missing?
Tyreek Hill.
I said Tyreek Hill.
Did you say that? Okay.
Come on, man.
Sorry.
Oh, ruin up my flow here. But so we'll just kind of keep going. There's just some of the injuries. So let's talk about some of our biggest surprises. Mikey, give me a big surprise. And it could be a good surprise. It could be a bad surprise.
How about DJ Chark?
Doesn't he have 4 touchdowns in 4 games?
Yeah.
And 1 against the Broncos, beating the Broncos today.
Yeah. Can't say I saw that coming into the season. Everybody thought it was going to be D.D. Westbrook, but who would have thunk it? DJ Chark has actually been the man in Jacksonville.
And that's with a backup quarterback, Minshew madness.
Yeah.
So who would have thought that? And that may be hurting D.D. Westbrook's. And he actually did not have a touchdown today. I thought he had a touchdown. Oh, he had it. He caught it, and it got taken back.
Yeah.
There was a holding call that took away his touchdown. But he's getting targets, and he's contributing 17 points, 15 points, 13 points, 6, but had that touchdown called back. So definitely a surprise. Todd, what about you?
I'll say Philip Dorsett. I mean, everybody everybody thought it was going to be, Josh Gordon.
Oh, that's what this is. This is upset because Philip Dorsett's getting the love and not Josh Gordon.
Yeah, a little bit. No, but no, because I mean, obviously, because let's face it, in Patriots land, you never know, who's going to be, who's going to get the majority of the targets and catches and whatever. And Philip Dorsett's definitely, picked up that role, and it seems like Brady likes going to him. So that's a little bit of surprise there.
I guess. Philip Dorsett had a 20-point game in week 1 where he had 2 touchdowns, and then he had a 15-point game. But he's also had games of 4 and 2. So I don't know. I guess it qualifies. Oh, Tom Brady. I know he didn't have a great game today, but he coming into this week, and he was 6th in scoring, a guy that I feel like if Todd didn't draft him, he probably wouldn't have got drafted. I mean, I guess I could be wrong. There's a lot of backup quarterbacks that got drafted, but Tom Brady was a guy I wasn't super thrilled to even talk about, but looking like the Tom Brady of old. Am I wrong on that?
No, he's definitely got look
He
at all
sure
the
looked like old Tom Brady today.
Yeah, he only had 22 points, 18 completions, 150 yards, and interception. But before that, 55, 48, and 52. I mean, I would take that. I haven't had a 50-point quarterback all year. I would kill for that right now. Another guy I had as a big surprise. Do you have another big surprise?
Yeah, Scary Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, he was a guy on there. Scary Terry. I've heard so many different nicknames like McLovin. Terry Dimes, I think it was another one, but I've never heard of Scary Terry.
Scary Terry, that's what they call him. Scary Speed.
I guess they have to throw to somebody in Washington.
Well, that was the thing, man. Coming into the year, I didn't want anybody from Washington because it was too hard to figure out who was going to be the guy, and turns out it's the rookie.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't play today because he was injured, but 17 points, 14 points, 15 points, has 3 touchdowns in his first 3 games. Todd, another big surprise from you?
I'll say Dak Prescott, just because of the fact of all what was going on during the offseason with Zeke, about if he was going to get paid, and obviously Dak was just putting his head down and just going to work, and he's he's looking like a top 5 quarterback. So, I just like, as I said, the offense always ran through Zeke, and Dak was kind of like, okay, just make sure you don't lose the game. But now it looks like this season, they're like, hey, let's go win us the game. So that's definitely, because obviously too, he's looking for a contract too. So I think that definitely. So that's one of my other big surprises.
Kind of sticking with that, I'll even say that Dak Prescott's probably the steal of the draft so far. I don't know if anybody else agrees or not. He was drafted in the 16th round, CUP. We kind of did this last year. He drafted 2 quarterbacks, and his backup ended up being the guy doing fairly well for him last year. He had Mahomes, but man, Dak Prescott has been pretty incredible so far. 66, 58, 44. Struggling a little bit tonight with 23 so far, but he's been pretty incredible so far. One last surprise, and if you guys have others, we can do it. But how about T.Y. Hilton? We thought, how ridiculous was that pick? And that was before the Andrew Luck. And then Andrew Luck retires. And you're like, oh, what a terrible second-round pick. But Hilton's done all right for himself. third scoring amongst wide receivers coming into this weekend. 4 touchdowns, including 2 in week 1, 25 targets in 3 games. I think was he out today? I think he was out today, but, man, 24, 12, and 17. And so he's got a good rapport with Jacoby Brissett. Anything else we want to say about big surprises, or should we go to biggest disappointments? Or biggest butts, however you want to say.
Move on to disappointments.
Yeah,
All right.
move on.
All right. So let's just go through my team here. The whole JC Dragons has been terrible. Todd, give me a big disappointment.
I would say Joe Mixon.
Okay.
Obviously,
yeah.
a lot of expectations for him because obviously, besides running, catching was a big thing. But he's just been, been really disappointing. But obviously, the whole Cincinnati Bengals team's just been a disappointment too. So that kind of
You lay off Andy Dalton. He's been pleasantly surprising.
Yeah, well, let's hope. Let's just hope he has a nice big, crappy game.
Is
tomorrow
Joe
night.
Mixon a buy low guy, or should you stay away? I mean, he has 32 attempts for 87 yards, so it hasn't been good. But he has 10 targets and 7 receptions and a touchdown. So he's a guy that maybe you try to go out and get while he's on a down low, or do you stay away from him?
Well, here my thing with him is I thought coming into the season that he was going to be a true 3-down running back. So far, he hasn't been.
Bernard getting a lot of run,
He's
too?
been the 3rd down back,
Okay.
so it's hurting him.
I could go through my team here, but how about Duke Johnson? Isn't he pretty much cut now? I mean, he shouldn't even be on a roster.
I got to do this.
Wow, Duke Johnson. Whew, how about a free fall?
Look, Duke Johnson's who we thought he was. He is who we thought he was.
So we're crown him already. God dang it.
He was given the keys to the Houston backfield.
Yep.
Said, here you go. You're the starter now, and has failed tremendously. In fact, he had 10 points in that first game, but then 3, then 3, and then 8 because he had 56 yards and a couple catches. But, man, how disappointing has he been? Todd, do you have another disappointment?
I'll say Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell just hasn't been the Le'Veon Bell we've seen of old. Now, granted, we talked about this in the offseason was, going from Big Ben to Sam Darnold, he was bitching and complaining, how he didn't like it in Pittsburgh or whatever. He may be regretting it just a smidge.
He hasn't had Sam Darnold though. That's been the problem.
Well, whatever the case may be, but going from Pittsburgh to the Jets, where the Jets are still rebuilding since 1983 because they couldn't pick a quarterback. So when teams are going to stack the box, we always talk about this when you put a star running back in a team that still trying to figure stuff out, defenses are going to stack the box with 8-man fronts. And as good as Le'Veon Bell has been, he had a better offensive line in Pittsburgh than he has in New York. And I just think everybody's like, well, he'll just be back to
Are you shaking your head because you don't agree?
I don't agree. He was fine week 1 when Darnold was there. Now you put in crappy-ass Luke Falk, and he's a piece of crap.
He's actually done all right. 21 points, 17 points, 8 points.
Yeah, so it's for me.
Maybe he's not first round worthy, but I take that as a James Conner owner. Or used to be, but he hasn't been terrible. Maybe he hasn't been what people wanted him, but I think he's done fine.
Yeah, I think
he's still learning the system too. He's caught in a lot of balls. I think, in fact, if I go look him up here, he's got 20 catches in 3 games.
Yeah, he's a guy that never leaves the field. I think he's going to be fine, especially when Darnold returns.
Yeah, but for how much you're paying him to,
that doesn't matter in fantasy.
I know, but I'm just I'm just saying I don't know.
Todd was expecting 30 touchdowns from Le'Veon Bell.
Pretty much.
Mikey, do you have another one?
Yeah, I'm going to go.
Say
with
it.
I'm going to
Say
go.
it.
I'm going to go with the JC, James Conner.
Yeah, I even traded him. That's how bad I could not. I figured he would take. Now we don't have a big sample size in terms of how much he's gonna do without Big Ben because that just happened in week 2. But even in week 1, I don't know. There might be something going on.
Well,
James Conner. I don't know if it's an injury or maybe the offense is just maybe it's Antonio Brown gone. But man, oh man, how disappointing has James Conner been?
Steelers in general. Juju's been disappointing.
Yeah.
Vance McDonald's lighting it up.
What happened to James Washington?
Yeah, everybody thought that he would have a good rapport there with the backup, and me, even Moncrief, who I thought maybe would step up, and he hasn't done. I mean, he's not even, I don't think, in the rotation of wide receivers. Talk about Eric being wrong.
It's a rookie, I think, now. It's that
I don't know if Deontay Johnson. Yeah, I mean,
Johnson, yeah.
how that's going to end up. Man, that's been a big one. How about Stephon Diggs?
He was on my list.
71st among wide receivers in points. Man, 16 receptions, 111 yards, and 1 touchdown coming into today. I don't know what he ended up doing today.
10 points.
So 10 points, all right, but it's 3 points, 7 points, 3 points, 10 points.
Look, his quarterback.
And it's based on the whole
okay?
system, right?
Yeah.
Because Thielen I don't know if Thielen had a catch today.
Yeah, it doesn't-
Thielen's been bad.
He has
Thielen-
been bad. He hasn't been great. He had a couple of good games. Touchdowns have saved his season so far.
but I'm okay with it. Keep feeding Dalvin Cook. Good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Anybody else that we want to mention as big disappointments?
Devontae Freeman. Because that was kind of
Yeah,
and
I could see
and
that.
that was kind of the one I was a little high on because okay he's gonna be the guy now. There's nobody else. I'm not afraid of Ito Smith, whatever the case may be, but he just hasn't been the Devontae Freeman of old, and obviously Atlanta hasn't been great either. So
He's had double-digit figures in the last couple of weeks, 11 and 13, but I think a lot of that's come off receptions. Excuse me.
How about those tight ends in general? Those top three: Ertz,
Yeah.
Kelsey, and Kittle.
Yeah, I was just saying
They've
Kelsey's
all-
up there.
They've been okay, but they've just kind of been.
They have not been worth their draft day price. Kelsey 6th in points. Kittle is 12th. Ertz is 11th. So that's been. So let me ask you this: in terms, if you are, you're a Stephon Diggs owner, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, I always get confused because I know in the other league I have Diggs. But if you're a Diggs owner, a Thielen owner, are you trying to sell them now? You're probably not going to get much for them, but they have name value, or is it just hopeless for those guys? Can they turn it around? What would you do? With the Diggs, are you trying to sell them? Because I'm sure you don't feel safe about starting them.
If I were to approach the correct deal, then sure. But there's still hope for him.
Think so?
Yeah.
You were telling me that Kirk Cousins looked broken.
He does look broken.
Broken.
He's seeing
and not like my back's broken or my
No,
arm's broken,
no,
but his brain
he's
is broken.
He's seeing ghosts right now, which is never a good thing.
All right. Interesting.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, and even mentioned Hopkins. He had 25 points in week 1, 7, 9, and 5 the last 3 weeks.
And part of that is that Deshaun Watson is on pace to break the sacks record that they already had. That offensive line can't protect him.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad. I thought they kind of figured that out, but
no, they tried to figure it out and overdrafted the wrong offensive lineman.
Yeah, I saw he was on pace to be sacked like a ridiculous 70-something times this year if it keeps up.
some other busts real quick. Geronimo Allison, who I had high. Jarvis Landry, he's been although he had a good day today. Will Fuller. What's going on with these guys? Do you have an MVP? Who's the MVP in fantasy so far?
I had to give it to somebody that's undefeated
Not on my
so
team.
far. So I'm giving it to Austin Eckler.
Okay, I like that. Kilgore Trout, right?
Kilgore Trout, his team's undefeated. Eckler was drafted, I think, in the 7th round. He was coming in averaging over 20 points a game
Okay.
at the running back position.
I don't disagree with that. Todd, do you have an MVP? Is it from your team?
No, it's not from my team. It's actually from Mikey's team. It's Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
If Kirk Cousins is truly broken in every way possible, they just hand the ball off to Cook and looks been.
Let me ask you guys this question.
Okay.
And this kind of pertains to my MVP, but
Okay.
if we were drafting again and Patrick Mahomes is on pace to do what he's doing now, would you draft him in the first round?
No.
No? No? If he's going to throw for 50 touchdowns and 6,000 yards, you wouldn't draft him in the first round?
I don't think he's going to throw for 6,000 yards.
I don't know. So far, so good. He's on pace for that. I know he didn't have as great game as we thought, but coming into this weekend, he was on average of 6,000 yards and 56 touchdowns. Would you work? I would. Obviously, it's easy for me to say because my team stinks, but I'd probably draft him in the first round if I knew I was getting that from him. I feel like we had this conversation even during the preseason. Would you, Todd? Mikey says no.
I think I would.
I think I would too.
I think it would too. I mean, I think and that would definitely be going back to the from 2010 to 2013 when we were all drafting quarterbacks in the first round.
Okay, so I'm going to go through these guys. We can talk some afterwards if we want to talk about other guys, but I'm going to ask you, do you believe?
Okay.
And you guys can tell me if you believe in these guys are going to continue to have a bad season, or if they're having a good season, do you believe that they're going to continue, or if you think they're going to turn around, you let me know. The first one was a guy obviously I was high on, but Aaron Rodgers, do you believe he's going to continue kind of having a mid-round quarterback type of season? Or do you think he turns around, or do you think he gets worse? Boy, look at Mikey.
I told you. I told you.
I think mid round.
Offensive coordinators matter. That's what Mikey's been telling me. That's what he's been telling me. as we're looking over at the game right now. It's 12-10 in favor of New Orleans.
I told
But
you.
yeah, go ahead, Aaron Rodgers. You told me, huh?
I was telling you guys in the podcast earlier. It's not any bad thing I have to say about Aaron Rodgers. It's not his fault. It's just the way that they want to play and how they want to win. They built up this defense all off season and through the draft. They want to play defense. They want to run the ball. It's the way they want to play it.
Yeah, you know the worst part of it all?
Except
'Cause,
when they get first and goal at the 1, they don't want to run the ball.
They don't want to, whatever reason from last Thursday. But it's amazing because he had his best game last Thursday, and they lost. When he's not throwing and they're running the ball and playing defense, they're 3-0. So there's that. How about Lamar Jackson? Do you guys believe in Lamar Jackson? Averaging 53 fantasy points per game. Can he continue that? Anybody can answer.
I don't. I think he's gonna have a little bit of a slump.
Why is that? He's looked tremendous so far.
The only reason I say is because I think even Patrick Mahomes had some hiccups last year, a little bit. I mean, obviously still won MVP, but I think he's gonna have. I think Lamar Jackson's gonna have a little bit of it, just a little bit of a hiccups. Nothing earth shattering, but.
What do you think, Mikey? Yes? Do you think he continues?
I think he continues. I think the one worry everybody had about him before the season started was whether or not he could actually throw the ball, and he's proving that he can do it.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson has just one rushing touchdown this season, but 7 passing touchdowns. So there's that. How about our good old friend Baker Mayfield? A little bit of a bust in some fantasy realms, averaging just 34 fantasy points per game. His highest game was 37. He has not had more than 1 touchdown in a game this season. Mikey, what do you think about Baker Mayfield? Do you think things turn around for him, or is this kind of what we're going to see from the second-year guy?
I think it's kind of what you're going to see for the most part. I think they want to run the ball. Their offensive line, especially in pass protection, is just straight booty.
Booty.
I think that Baker's a good quarterback, but I think that they have to play a certain way to protect him.
He just had 37 points today. Do you think Baker Mayfield same, or do you think he gets better, or is he just?
I think he gets a little bit better. I think he gets a little bit better just because.
Here's why he won't get better. He's at San Francisco next week, then at home against Seattle, who looked pretty good against Kyler Murray today. Has a bye week, then at New England, at Denver, then versus Buffalo. So there's some tough days ahead for Baker Mayfield. Okay,
that at Denver one's pretty good. But.
Well, I guess today they didn't look super great. Do we believe in Jordan Howard?
No.
His 30-point game is. I mean, he had a 30-point game on Thursday, and he had a game where he scored a touchdown the previous week. But no, we're not believing in him.
No, because I think they're still going to do that. The timeshare thing between him and Miles Sanders, because Miles Sanders at times looks really good too. So I think they're just going to go with the hot hand. And that Thursday night game, Jordan Howard just happened to have the hot hand.
So I'm a little more positive on him. They are going to do the timeshare thing, but they have shown that when they get down in the red zone, they go to Jordan Howard. And for a team like Philly that scores points, I like that.
Okay.
That's a good call.
All right.
Do we believe in
Is he LeGarrette Blunt?
Larry Fitzgerald? 14th in scoring amongst wide receivers coming into today. Double figures in 3 straight weeks. It might be 4 straight weeks. I'll take a look at that while Mikey tells me if he believes in Fitzgerald. Fitzy.
I don't need to tell you if I believe. I've been telling you all off season. I've been telling you all draft time that I believed in Fitzgerald. He had 7 today, so he didn't.
That's correct. 5 for 47.
He didn't get into double figures, but I mean, this is a team that's just throwing and throwing and throwing. I mean, his targets alone is going to get him to where he needs to be. I mean, he's going to be a double-figure guy every week, except for this week.
Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I believe he'll keep going because Kyler Murray will just keep getting better.
That's Kyler Murray. Do you guys believe in Juju Smith-Schuster? He has hit 9 points and 13 points, 0 100-yard games. They're on a bye this week, or they haven't played yet. Is that right?
Correct.
And then he has 1 touchdown. Are we concerned? Does he get better, or is this what we're going to see from him?
I think this is what we're gonna get because no Big Ben, that hurts, and I think you're gonna regress a little bit. I mean, he's still gonna put up decent yardage, but he's not gonna be what first round material.
I think it'll get better. I really do. I think that chemistry between him and Mason Rudolph and this offense, it's going to take a little bit of time. But, I mean, he's got the talent. So that is not the issue. I don't think he was overhyped at all. It's just it's been kind of a weird season for that Pittsburgh offense. So I think he's having his struggles early, but I think he'll get better as the season progresses.
How about Daniel Jones? Do we believe in Daniel Jones? 60 points in his first career start. We had 23 completions, 336 yards, 2 passing, 2 rushing touchdowns. Today he had 37 points, just 1 touchdown, a couple of picks. What do we think about Daniel Jones?
So who did Jared Goff play today? Was that Tampa? Who did he play before? Tampa? Okay. I think
Tampa's defense is pretty bad is what you're saying?
Yeah, calm down on the Daniel Jones stuff.
Okay.
He'll be okay, but he's not going to be that as great as everybody thinks this year.
Okay.
Yeah, to be continued. You can't really. You almost have to put a big question mark, in front of it, just because you don't know.
All right, last one, and then if we want to add anything about anything, we can. But how about Austin Eckler with Melvin Gordon coming across the bend or coming around the bend? Eckler has been obviously tremendous, as we mentioned. He's got 19 catches, 208 yards on 2 touchdowns, 160 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. What are we going to see now from Eckler once Melvin Gordon comes back? And I know they were saying that Melvin Gordon's going to be limited next week. He didn't play today, even though they said he was going to play today. So what do we think about Eckler?
I think he just kind of goes back to what he's been, which is like a 10-point per game guy. I mean, he's not going to be hitting those 20 or aboves anymore. They already said that when Gordon comes back, he's the starter. And, Eckler will shift back into that third down passing game role.
Okay. Would you guys, let's say you're Kilgore Trout, you're Joe Vaccarelli who's got Eckler, do you try to sell him now? Maybe get something value. Now, obviously, everybody knows that Gordon's coming back, but maybe they see his gaudy numbers of 33, 19, 12, and 26, and maybe they give up a little something for him. Maybe a desperate owner that's 1-2 or 2-2 or is going to be 2-2 or 1-3, and do you throw something at him? You see what you can get?
It's in the realm of possibility.
Okay. All right. So what else you guys want to talk about? We're kind of a little bit over an hour here. Is there anything you want to talk about? I mean, Kilgore Trout, if we go, I guess we can go through the kind of the standings. Now, we're in the middle of action right now, but we've had some undefeated teams, 2 at this table, and the Hot Tamales and Todd over there and the Butterfingers. Kilgore Trout's 3-0. Gonzo Cats is 2-1. Aaron 2-1. And Cooper Cousins 2-1. And then we have a couple of teams that haven't won yet, which includes myself, NWA, and Belt Sanders. What else? It's been kind of a weird fantasy season. I know when I was following my games this morning before we went out to the soccer field to work, it was some guys I just never even heard of that scoring touchdowns. But this has kind of been a weird fantasy year so far.
Yeah, and I think too, because of injuries, there's been really, really big injuries so early in the season.
Retirements.
There we go. Retirements and injuries. So I think that definitely, changed your mindset very quickly. I mean, this is only week 3, and you already have to, some teams already have to redo some things just to stay afloat a little bit, just to get back on track. So I think that's the only thing. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely been interesting the first 3 weeks. I mean, usually we don't see this kind of stuff maybe till week 8 or 9 or something, or maybe close going to the playoffs or something like that. So it's definitely been interesting. I mean, and obviously some of the big names definitely have not lived up so far. But again, only week 3, you don't want to panic too much, obviously, but you definitely have to rethink some things as well. So,
anything you want to say? Anything that stands out to you here in Fantasy Week mid-4?
Well, I mean, who's going to be your number 1 pick next year with the first
That's
pick?
a great question. We're gonna tank for Tua. I think that's what everybody's saying. But if Christian McCaffrey's there, he's looked pretty impressive so far. So. Yeah, that's going to be tough. If some magic happens and I get to be 1-3, I think I have a chance. If I'm 0-4, I don't know if there's a shovel that can dig me out of the hole.
0-4 is a pretty big hole,
That's a
man.
big hole. Things have just not worked out. And I made a couple trades this week, and they didn't help me at all. I'm going to say they didn't help me at all. But I thought for sure Kyler Murray would throw a lot more against Seattle, and he didn't.
0-4
Didn't.
and me on deck.
But at least James.
Yeah, and I got Mikey next week, so just probably gonna play spoiler unless Tyler Boyd can go ape shit on Monday night, which could happen. I would need a 3-touchdown day. I mean, we'll see. I haven't really kept up with Michael Thomas. If not, then I just need to find a TV show that's going to keep you occupied during the football season because the Broncos are crappy. I'm crappy. Hooray for fantasy baseball championships. That's all I have on me. All right, so I guess you want to say something, Todd?
But at least the James White one kind of semi worked out for you.
Yeah,
that's a small.
I mean, that's 10 points. I guess better than Hardman, who I would have started and had 0. So
Yeah, exactly. So
there you go. So owners, so wish you guys the best of luck, I guess. Just please don't let Aaron win. Anybody else? We can't have Aaron win 2 in a row and then get number 4. Please don't let it happen. Steak dinner for anybody that knocks him off. All right, so I guess that's going to do it for this episode of the MHA podcast. Who knows when we'll do another one? Maybe in a few weeks. It's always tough. We're always busy. A lot going on work-wise for all of us, but we'll try to knock some out as we go along. And so from Eric Lansing, Todd Diamond, Mikey Renault over there, and Owen for me. Ugh. See you next time. The MHA podcast. So depressing.